Sharpies. Do you like some? Hello guys, Pepper Madness back at you here again. I see I've got a pile of new subs, stuff like that. So I would like, I'd like to start out by saying is I should have done this video earlier in the later last year, like around November-ish, to maybe help some of you guys out further south that aren't used to like any cold weather at all. Okay, and when I'm throwing temperature numbers around and stuff, that doesn't matter. Okay, all I'm doing is I'm just giving it to you from my perspective and letting you know that it is really cold up here. But cold is a relative thing. If you feel cold, then it's cold. Okay, I'm not making fun of any. Okay, let's get on with this now. Okay, after all the disclaimer stuff is done. So mainly this video is for the guys who are into the Grand Solar Minimum stuff and the homesteader types. Okay. Let me see if I got that all on there for you. So I'm going to have to turn this into a series because there's so much to talk about and so many more topics that I didn't fit them on the board. Right, so our first topic up is heating, cooking, and lighting. So if you're into that, preparing for the solar grand minimum, or let's just call it really cold, unusual weather. All right. I have some recommendations for you guys. All right. Okay. So the first thing has to do with heating your home. Okay. And it's going to mix in with cooking also. All right. So we'll go to here. Okay. So you're going to want a good wood stove. Okay. And when I say a good wood stove, I'm talking one that is that has a forced air fan unit on it, okay, and it can take at least a 24-inch block of firewood in it, and you can stack it up, and it'll burn for say it's 30 below out, so you get about 4 to 6 hours of heat out of that one fill up. All right, so there's what I have is an old Valley Comfort. I shouldn't say old, it's only 10-12 years old, but whatever. It's got the heat sensor thing on it and a forced air fan into the cowling, and I can run by using my inverter. I can convert from 12 volt to 120 and go in and have that fan running. The fan does not run all the time. The fan only runs as long as the stove is hot enough. Okay? All right. Now, that's just a recommendation. Now, as far as wood stoves go, okay, you're gonna have to take into consideration a couple things. Bug Out Brad did a pretty good video on this about air intakes and stuff. He was saying this may or may not be a mistake. I've done it where I hardlined my intake right into my stove, but what happens is these stoves vibrate. Okay, your wood stoves vibrate even without a fan. The heat itself causes it to vibrate. All right. So what happened is it actually pulled apart the fitting that I had plumbed into the draft intake and broke it. Okay, so that's up to you. Maybe you can figure out something, some nice soft rubber under the leg pads or something like that to help with the vibration, and of course bolt it down. Mine's not bolted down downstairs. That's so I can move it around and clean stuff. But anyhow, I'm getting off on that. Window coverings. Okay, that's a very important thing. Here I'm going to throw out a number for you. So for I think it was 4 days, we were right in the minus 43 to 47 range. Okay. very, very cold, and that's not unusual up here. All right, that is not an unusual thing. So we were ready for it. Now, here's some things you can do. Okay, when I'm talking about window coverings, I'm talking about curtains. I'm talking about that shrink wrap stuff that you can put on the inside, and then use a blow dryer to tighten it all in place. Okay, that stuff does work pretty good. Okay, and only use it on the inside. Don't put it on the outside. It'll just break. Okay, it'll just crack and get beat up in the wind and everything too. Okay, there's also poly frames. You want that double-sided. Make sure it does fit in there, and of course you can simply just use wedges. You know, like those door jamb wedges and stuff like that. You pick up at a hardware store, I think, for like $3 for a big bag of them. All right, so that's one way. Now, further down south, I'm pretty sure you guys aren't insulated, especially in the older homes, to protect yourself really, really well from this kind of weather. So by using blankets, I like the Army wool blankets. You can cover up the top of your door, okay, and then just leave it hang. All right, that way when you open and close the door, the blanket moves. Okay. What else do I got here? Yeah, poly frames and insulated poly. Right. So on your bedroom windows, where you only go to sleep anyhow, on your bedroom windows, you're going to build the same kind of poly frame. All right. And then fill it up with insulation. All right. Yes, it has gotten that cold here to do that. And I have an older house, and I think it was built by a bunch of stoners. Terrible insulation. Okay, so we got that. I've been working on that over the years, replacing this. It's like a money pit. Okay, so we've covered curtains. Okay, we've covered the shrink wrap, we've covered the poly frames, and we've covered the insulated poly. Okay, let's move up to the cook stove. All right, so you don't have to get a 6-burner stove like the one that I have in that cooking video that I did with the cast iron. You don't have to get something that big. All right, so the way I set it up is so that my furnace, my wood furnace, is downstairs, okay, and my cook stove is upstairs, and it's right near the stairwell. And I don't have and I didn't put I didn't hardline in a cold air draft to feed that damper, because what that does is it draws the warm air from downstairs upstairs, okay, and it creates a circulatory effect. Of course, if you're not able to set it up like that, you can always cut a grate into the floor, and I would cut that grate about 6 inches by 16, right between your floor joists. So it's like right between your floor joists. Set in the steel grate so you don't go through it. Make sure it's a good grate, and then put your wood cook stove there. Okay, so moving on. Yes. If you want to keep the place heated easily, get rid of any unneeded furniture. If you've got a room in your house that's never used, and the temperature drops, and like say you got like 3 or 4 couches in your living room, a couple TVs, all that stuff, take it and put it in that back room for the winter. Okay, I'm talking like if you're just heating with wood heat. Okay, it's going to be a huge saver for you, because what happens is everything that you have out, okay, all those nice china cabinets and all that stuff will absorb the heat. It will steal the heat. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to keep your floor warm, which is why I have my stove downstairs, and you want to keep the air warm in the house. But if your furniture has to be heated, it's going to be a constant fight for you. Okay, I'm hoping these things are helping, and I'm hoping I'm not too long and being drawn out. Okay. That was it for that. For now, anyways. Yeah, cook stove. Yeah, let's get back to the cook stove. So, what you want to do for that, if you can afford to, there's some very beautiful modern wood cook stoves out there that actually, that'll actually really help you heat your home. Rather than an old one like mine where you're feeding it every hour or hour and a half, stuff like that, right? Because like we're talking about temperatures that a lot of my subscribers have never even seen. Okay, that they've never felt the temperatures like 30 below. Okay, you're going to want to keep that thing running. You can't let your fires go out. At 30 below, you let your fires go out. All your plumbing, I guarantee it will be froze by morning. Okay, it's that brutal. Okay, I'm not kidding around with that. And we'll get into doing some water stuff here later. Weatherproofing your water system. Let's see. Right, yeah. You can also make your own wood cook stove. I should do. I should go make another one and do a video on it. It's just a small one. I think you guys would like it. All right, now let's skip out through all the heating and we'll get down into lighting. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to give you some options, and I'm going to give you my opinion on this at the end of it. Okay, so for lighting, having rechargeable LED lights, flashlights, those little electric lanterns, that stuff's all great. That's all good, but you got to be able to recharge them, right? So if the power is out, especially when I watched Dad on YouTube's video, and it was like, correct me if I'm wrong, it was like 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and they were talking about having rolling brownouts and shutting the schools down. I just was like, what? So anyhow, sorry, I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you. All right, so rechargeable batteries, rechargeable battery style lighting, LEDs that you can run off your 12 volt systems, if you have solar. Okay, keep your lighting stuff to a minimum. All right, so if you're eating supper, you have one light on. It's at the table, right? And then there's a flashlight sitting there. Like if it's dark or something. Then there's a flashlight sitting there to go walk around with. All right. Don't open your windows too much. Like maybe have one window open in, say, I wouldn't say the kitchen. No, there's pipes there. Have one window open, like in the living room, and maybe another over by your entranceway, or your foyer or porch or whatever you want to call it, just for a little bit of natural light. Okay, and during these sort of things, if the grid does go down because of cold weather and your home and stuff like that, just do what they used to do. When it's dark, you go to sleep. When it's light, you get up. Okay? Life does become that simple, really. And if you got to move around, just have a flashlight in your bedroom, one in the kitchen, one in the bathroom. Yeah. So I think I've covered that pretty good. Of course, I'll give you some more options here. Of course, there's candles. Use your candles. If you got small kids, you keep an eye on them, and you make sure you lay down the rules with them. Okay, there's no snowflaking around with this stuff. It's your safety that is that is at stake here. Oh, and a little side note, by the way, I make candlestick holders. There's also the hurricane lamps, very inexpensive. I believe if you go to surplus stores, liquidation centers and stuff like that, I think you get them for like $3-4 each, and then you put those little tea candles in them. And I've used them camping. Okay, I've used them camping at like 30 below. I had a string tied to the little handle and was walking around like, and you'd be surprised, 6-7 feet. It's pretty good. Okay, I would stay away from kerosene lamps. They tend to put they tend to put a bit of quite a bit of fumes out, and with today's more modern homes that are sealed tight, those fumes, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, they can be hazardous to your health. Okay, you'll know by getting what we used to call tent eye. Okay, from the white gas Coleman lanterns and stuff. Your eyes turn all pink, they get scratchy and sore, and everyone gets miserable. So I would keep those to a minimum. Plus they're dangerous, especially around kids, because the kids will just reach and grab for something and yank like this, and next thing you know, there's Carol all over the place and your house is on fire, right? And then your house burns down, you're standing outside. After the fire goes out, then you freeze to death. So yeah, anyhow, that's about it for this video. I hope you guys came away with something on this. The next one I'm going to do is on your water, because man, I've seen a lot of homestead videos from channels down in the more southern states, I guess, like Tennessee and in the Carolinas, one in Georgia, a few in Texas, stuff like that. So I'll give you a few inexpensive, really, tips on keeping your water from freezing, and it's not wrapping insulation around the pipes. Crying out loud. That just keeps the cold air in. All right. Remember, guys, it's better to be looking at it than looking for it. Take care.